Jason Horowitz, glad to be with you in a flash, presented by AT&T. Brian Kelly, the new head coach at Notre Dame. Let's bring in our CBSSports.com college football columnist Dennis Dodd. And Dennis, we talked earlier in this week about all the possible situations, and you said he would be hired by Friday, and he was. I want to ask you how you think he goes into Notre Dame and what happens immediately here.
Well, I think the immediate thing you have to look for now is what kind of staff he hires. I'm assuming he'll bring most of his people from Cincinnati, but I think defense is still a huge concern at Notre Dame, and it will be interesting to see who he gets as coordinator. Charlie Weis had one of the best in the business, John Tenuta. He just didn't have the players or didn't know how to put them in the right place, or maybe both. So I think that's the next thing. And then getting out there and recruiting. Notre Dame won't have any problem recruiting. Charlie Weis had good to great recruiting classes. He just couldn't get it done on the field. I think the biggest thing for Notre Dame and Brian Kelly right now is he's a head coach. He knows what he has to do and goes forward.
Dennis, he was 1 second away at Cincinnati for playing for the national title. Had Texas missed that field goal or had Colt McCoy waited one more second, Cincinnati would be playing Alabama, not Texas. Does he get Notre Dame to that level where his predecessors couldn't?
It'll be that's the key question in this whole thing. Can anyone win at Notre Dame these days in an era when there's parity, but there's really not? Only 10 teams in 12 years have ever been ranked #1 in the BCS standings. This decade we've seen if Texas beats Alabama, 4 teams will have won multiple championships this decade. That's not exactly an open shop, and those are the kind of teams Notre Dame's going to have to beat to get to the top. Now, my question is 9-3 good enough? I don't think it is. I mean, they don't want a 9-3 coach. They want a guy who's going to contend at least for BCS bowls every year, and that goes beyond 9-3. That's a huge, tall order at Notre Dame right now.
And at least be relevant, and not relevant because you're bad, but be relevant because you're contending, and that's what he has to do back at now get to Notre Dame to do that. As for Cincinnati, Dennis, what has he left here? How appealing of a program is this to whomever that next coach may be?
Well, you heard a lot of complaining from Marty Gilliard and some other players in the aftermath Thursday of the announcement, but I don't think there's any question that Brian Kelly's left this program a lot better than he found it. I mean, teams or recruits now will seek out Cincinnati. They'll know the name when it comes up, when a recruiter knocks on the door. If nothing else, he left them with a new practice facility, 2 new practice fields. The momentum created now has an expansion going at Nippert Stadium. None of that would have come along unless Brian Kelly had arrived. And you remember, before he did arrive, it was a sleepy little urban program. I mean, Mark D'Antonio had done okay, but not anywhere near the level of Brian Kelly did, 34-6 in 3 seasons.
Yeah, they're on the build. They're on the rise. We'll see what they do against Florida with Jeff Quinn, the offensive coordinator under Brian Kelly. He's taking the helm against Florida in the Sugar Bowl. Dennis, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right, Jason, thank you.
All right, folks, that'll do it for your In a Flash presented by AT&T. For more on this story, keep it right here with CBSSports.com. Live press conference at 1:30 p.m. Eastern from Notre Dame. For Dennis Dodd, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.